What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new tutorial. As you can see in this episode, we will be creating our very first animation, so let's get started. We're going to kick things off here by creating a simple frame-by-frame animation. So we're going to grab the oval tool, and remember to hold shift to create a perfect circle. And now go up to the timeline, and right-click on frame 2, and select Insert Keyframe. And now we just drag the circle down a bit. Remember to double-click it, or you'll end up leaving this outline behind. Then go back up here to the timeline and do the same thing again for frame 3. Right-click, insert keyframe, and move it just a little. And you get the idea. If we were to create, say, 100 frames of this, it would appear that the ball is moving all the way down the screen. And this is how the original Disney animators would work, except that they were drawing fully detailed characters for every single frame. But that's extremely time-consuming, and thanks to technology, there's a much faster way. So this time, we're going to do the same thing, but with a tween. So delete these last few frames, and now we're going to add a keyframe somewhere further down the timeline. So let's go with about, we'll do 50, that sounds nice. So now let's go to the first keyframe, make sure we set the circle exactly where we want it, and now go to the end frame and set it where we want it also. I'm just putting them right in the corners, but you can obviously have them anywhere you like. And now we go to the timeline, and if you right-click anywhere between two keyframes, you can add one of these three tweens. Now motion sounds like what we want, but it will only work for symbols, which are a whole separate video on their own. But since we didn't convert our shapes into symbols, and we aren't changing any of the shapes at all, we're going to go with a classic tween. And if you move to the beginning and click the play button, or hit enter on your keyboard, then, boom, we have movement. And it was much faster than editing each frame. However, frame-by-frame animation does still have its place in the business because it allows you to completely control every single frame, and it tends to look more fluid, especially when animating humans and animals. Most professional animators use a combination of both of these. But now comes the fun part. So let's go back up to the timeline and right-click here and select Remove Tween. And now go to the last frame, delete the shape completely, and replace it with a rectangle. And now, if we right-click again and try to select Shape Tween, you'll see that it's grayed out and we can't select it. And that has to do with this circle. You'll notice when we select the circle, it looks different than when we select other shapes. That is because when we made the classic tween, it converted all the shapes inside of it into symbols. So we simply right-click the symbol and select Break Apart. And now it's back to normal. Symbols can be very complicated, but essentially they group all of these individual pixels together for other uses. But our shape tween that we want needs to have all of these separated in order to use them. So now we right-click and select Shape Tween, then go to the beginning again, click play, and ta-da! It's pretty cool. And we can even add on to it by adding another keyframe, delete the shape, this time out a crazy star, and let's have a color change also. I'll go with a bright red. And now we go back up here, create Shape Tween, and when we play it this time, you'll see that it went by super fast. So to adjust that, we just need to drag the last keyframe out some, try it again. That's much better. And the last thing we're going to add is a nice loop to top this off. So add one more keyframe, and now let's right-click the first frame, select Copy Frames, and then right-click the final frame and Paste Frames. And now you can press Ctrl-Enter on a PC or Command-Enter on a Mac to test the movie. And there we have a perfect loop. So that's it for today's video, but before you go, let me know in the comments if there's anything specific you'd like me to make a tutorial over, and I'd be happy to help. Until then, I will see you in episode 3, and thanks for watching.